Hey guys! So today I am joined by one of my close friends, and coincidentally, the first female guest of the new season has some parallels to the first female guest of the first season as well, in that I have a list of her quotes.
Oh God.
And and
Already
I
starting with quotes.
oh yeah, I mean, I have known Dana since early 2020, and she already has, I think it's over 15 quotes on this list already. So I'm not gonna
Nice.
I'm not gonna read all of them out because some of them will just make you think we're weirder than we actually are, and we'll be here all day if we have to analyze all of Dana's quotes. So
We'd have to justify every single one.
mhm. And yeah, so we open with one of my personal favorites. I smell like fucking apple pie, and you said it. Yes, I telepathically broke his heart. I used the power of my mind. We sort of look like we're on the verge of insanity. I'm just going to order some sedatives on the dark web. If
Oh
I
God.
could, if I could, I would make my toe do the middle finger. We're not going to pickle me. I don't even remember that one. And
Pickle me.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, I think maybe because Greg said, "Oh, you're a pickle." He manages to turn me into everything and make it sound adorable.
yeah. And the first one I heard of you that I added to the list was, "Do not cute me. Do not cutenize me. Do not put me in a pink bow." And I actually wasn't going to mention that one, but since you brought up Greg, I just felt I had to slip it in there.
Oh, Greg will be proud.
And okay, I'll just do two more. We did not talk about Victoria's Secret. Let it stay a secret. And of course, I didn't know 13 inches could cause that much trouble.
Oh, come on, really?
Do you want to clarify that one?
I was talking about my laptop. It was 13 inches and what was it? It actually it burned. All the organs burned, and I had to take it to see, like, there was all this hassle why it could have destroyed itself, and I actually literally was like, I didn't know. Yeah. Ah, Jesus. Whew. Okay, yeah.
We have a
Hopefully
couple
there's
of we have a couple of quotes that come in visual form as well, so we roll them.
Lose the shish kebab. He ain't got the rocks to rock and roll. Fuck that shit. Fuck Frankie.
And a wine and some sweet Netflix. Lordy Jesus.
We will move on to what we're here for. Please introduce yourself to the YouTube universe and tell us who you are and what you're about.
Hi, my name is Lee Al Qattan, and I'm a filmmaker, and actor and writer.
You really aren't a prisoner.
He's a broke actor. If anything, you should arrest him for not being able to pay for dinner on a date.
Unfortunately, we can't arrest people for that.
I remember we were on a Zoom call last week with our friend Amy Scott, who will be on here very soon, and she all asked us about like what brought us into the industry, and I think I had to leave the room just as you told your story. So I guess I get to hear it now. So what drew you to it acting in the first place?
Acting. Well, I loved movies when I was a kid. I mean, I was one of those kids who loved playing pretend, with their friends. And so, when you see movies, it was kind of like I used to think they were real. I thought it was just like somehow someone managed to get a glimpse of people's lives. And so, and then, we get older to like, your parents are like, oh, they're not actually real. They're movies. They make them. And I'm like, okay, if that's the case, I want to be a part of that. And I started acting at I was maybe 9 or 10 years old in theater. I did Annie was like the first thing I was part of. A
Ah,
little
very nice.
a cute little show, like in the it was I think with it was an English company, drama academy, Via. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about, but it was a lot of fun, and I think it just brought out a certain spark inside me, and I just wanted to keep on doing it.
Mm-hmm. And I love a story that you told of it was a play in that you did in, I think it was high school, and you said people didn't recognize you.
Oh yeah. If anyone knows, well, it's a film or a playwright called You Can't Take It With You, It's this very eccentric comedy about a guy and a girl. They're like hoping to get engaged, but they have to introduce well, it's like she has to introduce her very wacky family to his very normal one. And so I played this very eccentric, out of this world Russian Duchess named Olga Katrina. And because back in high school, I was a shy girl. And as you see, I have a lot of hair. I was the girl who used to hide behind it. So I would literally be like this. I mean, I think some people might have nicknamed me the Grudge or the girl from the ring because the hair was, I was scared. I was a scared little one. But so like when I was up on stage, the makeup and the hair up and the very crazy outfit and just being very like flamboyant and out there.
But you're the guest of honor, Your Highness. Nonsense! Come, Colin Cobb! If they have hot cheese and sour cream, I shall make some blitzes!
I came out afterwards where we all wore our t-shirts that said we were part of the production. They thought I was maybe working backstage. And then they're like, oh, Dana, like, what did you do for this? And I was like, oh, I was Olga Katrina. And they're like, that was you!
That's a really good compliment to your performance then.
It was the funnest part I ever played, actually. I had like didn't have too many lines compared to the rest, so it wasn't too much pressure, and I got to just be very ridiculous.
Yeah,
Those-
and there's so many actors who I mean, I can't say for myself anyway, but I know Eva Green in particular, who I love. She says that she's kind of very shy and quiet in real life, but then she ends up getting cast as all these sort of like dark, wacky characters. And she says that it's just like such a catharsis for her to kind of like be able to like be that kind of person that's and like kind of people who know her personally would say like that's completely different from how she is, how they know her. So it's like, but you know, we see her in a different light.
I think for a lot of people, acting can be in some ways a catharsism, like because you get to it's sort of like it gives you permission to be outrageous without any consequence. And I think it's nice that there is a world for people where we can be the most outrageous, insane human beings, but it not having any effect on anyone's life. It's just for the sake of a performance. There's so much liberty from it, to be honest.
Oh God, yeah. And even just because again, I think I remember we didn't know each other that well, and we were just all on a call together, and you were asking people like, "Oh, what do you think you would cast me as?" And I was thinking, okay, I'd cast Dana as sort of the shy girl, like the kind of the very introverted girl, like the smart girl, kind of the TV tropes calls it the wooby, the girl you instantly kind of feel protective of and want to feel sorry for. And you said that you were actually tended to be cast as like the wackier ones as well. So, and then when Greg showed me your reel, the first reel that he made for you, and it had a clip from that play, and it was like, oh wow, I've never seen Dana in this light before. Mm-hmm.
I think especially over the last year or so, like you and I, Bobby, I think we became more wackier with each other even.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well I actually will tell a lovely story. I wanted to put it in somewhere, but you've just helped me find out where to put it, right? Dana and Greg Dana wanted to take Greg on a little like romantic getaway in back in December, and she booked a place that she thought he would never have been to before and was kind of keeping it a secret from him. And when they got to the train station, she told him the name of the town. He's like, oh, that's where Bobby lives, I've been there loads of times. So they stayed at a B&B that night, and then the next day obviously we met up, and this was kind of the first time we had kind of like got a chance to talk since because we'd met at Steep Screen Combat, but we hadn't really talked beforehand, and I was terrified at being left alone with you.
Really?
I'm so nervous around new people, especially pretty, smart, charismatic, dynamic, and talented young women.
I'm gonna blush so hard, like I'll be turning pink in this freaking podcast.
Oh yes, so Greg won't. Well, you'll already be pink, and then Greg will turn you into the bow itself. But no,
Oh,
we don't get sidetracked.
Why?
Okay, but yes, get back to the sweetness. Yeah.
I mean, I was the same way, to be honest. Like I like, especially because anyone like because I know like you're Greg's best friend, and it's like people especially who I know are important to him. I was like very nervous. I was like, all right, they're probably gonna scope me down, because another one of our friends, he still kind of scopes me down every so often. He thought I took it because I took a picture in the summer with my friend. Shout out to Mo, my amazing, outrageous friend.
I haven't even met you, and I know you're a legend. You and your itty bitties.
Oh my god. No.
We're not going to clarify that.
Well, he referred that to me, not like so it was like no, it's like yeah, no, because I took a picture with him, and a friend was like, what you doing? Like, are you what's his dies? And I'm just like, it's okay, he's gay. Like, although that shouldn't matter anyways. I mean,
Of course, yeah.
I have a lot of guy friends, so it's not like, I mean, Jesus, if men and women cannot be friends, that means I must be having a hell of an orgy right now.
Oh, I instantly know what is going in the quote for the title.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Actually, I remember. Obviously, we'll get back to the story I was originally telling, but it was either March or April, and you and our other friend Jake Highland, who's and he is Greg's other best friend. I can't take that away from him. And the two of you just kind of impulsively decided to come down and visit me. And I think you said one of your other friends said, "Oh, it's weird you two are going down together without Greg." And or was it they said it to Jake, and you said, "Jake, just tell her the truth. We're going down to have a threesome."
Yeah, no, no disrespect to the friend who asked that. It's just I don't know. There might be some people who can relate to what I'm saying when I say this. That you know, yes, both Jake and you are Greg's best friends, and Greg is like someone I'm dating and really care about. I think I get upset when people think that if I'm alone with another guy, it just has to resort to cheating.
I know, yeah.
I kind of and I understand if the friend didn't know me, that's fine. But also, it's kind of like, why does that have to be the first assumption? That makes me feel like, I don't know. There are some people out there who could relate. And again, not downplaying the friend either, because I can understand where they're coming from as well. But still, I think it's a bit rude to make that the first assumption.
Okay, so back to this December morning, and yeah, obviously I was very nervous talking to Dana, but started talking to her and had a lot of fun doing so. And I think we even just I was probably brought up the 1968 version of Romeo and Juliet, which I mean I love, and I've loved it since I saw it in 2019. And turns out that was a film Dana loved as well, and she was especially enamored with Olivia Hussey's performance. And I actually had I have a copy of her autobiography, The Girl on the Balcony, and I think I actually rushed into my room and just grabbed a copy. And since it was close to Christmas, I was like, "Oh, here, yeah, you definitely love this." And I believe Dana loved the book, and by the time she returned it a few months later, we had already become the best of friends.
That is actually quite true. Yeah. And I really love the book. I mean, because I remember when I saw her, she's beautiful. And she's a great actress. In my head, I remember thinking, oh, someone's so gorgeous. I was young. I think anyone who's young always has this thought about, it's like, oh, they're so gorgeous. They have an effortless life, which is not true. To be honest, I think even have more appreciation for Olivia Hussey. She's very down to earth, and I like that she didn't do things for the sake of fame. She did projects she only felt passionate about, and I think that's a proper way to be honest. Because doing things you're not passionate about, you're not really living. And also the things she went through, there is a lot of strength that I can't even fathom. It's truly amazing.
Oh yeah, I could just sit and listen to her talk for hours. And when
She has a beautiful voice.
when Dana and Jake came down to my house, and Jake's like a big musician, it's like you put an instrument in front of him and he will just play something really beautiful for you, doesn't matter the instrument. And we also have a piano in the house, and Jake started to play the piano, and then Dana sat down and played a few bars from the theme from Romeo and Juliet. And she didn't even have to say, she's like, "Oh, Bobby, I think you'll know this." And I played it, and she played it, and within a few seconds I was like, "Oh yeah, And then I took a video and just sent it to Olivia, and she says, "Oh, it was so sweet, thank you." So I say sent it like I know her. It's like I tweeted it and was like, I was a fanboy.
I felt validated. I was like, yes.
Okay.
What was it? In terms like bringing out like talk like we have several projects that we want to have made. I know from actually this is people are gonna love this because Bobby managed being the wittiest man I know. Well, one of them at least. He actually helped me developed more of an idea that I had simply because am I allowed to like our good friend Jerry actually like listening to like he was telling me an actual story about him and his friend and like I won't that's why I won't say his full name in case this is awkward like him and his friend there was a time maybe where he felt what was it like a bit of confusion like in terms of feelings because like there was a lot of affection within the friendship and so it's like I remember thinking to myself, all right, it was like I guess a mix of even all the things that people deal with sometimes where it's like you don't know how to be open with people without being misconstrued. So I wrote a script called Philia, and Philia is translated to be the highest form of love. Is one of the four ancient Greek words for love: philia, storge, agape, and eros. So these are the four different kinds of love according to the Greeks. And so to be specific, a philia is affectionate love. So it's love without romantic attraction and occurs between friends or family members. It occurs when both people share the same values and respect each other. It's commonly referred to as brotherly love. So I wrote a script about that because I kind of just wanted to show how like just it's almost like when Harry met Sally situation, but it kind of disproved that in a way. It was still a great comedy though. But I wanted to show that just because you're affectionate with people, it does not always mean that you'll, I don't know, like I guess get into the sack. I know with you, Bobby, we hug everyone in this group, and it's like if I had a like let's say if I were dating someone who didn't have the same mindset as we did, like would probably think, oh, she's probably, licking the bean on them. I don't know. I don't know. It's just I'm trying to PG this. I don't know.
The Devil's Tango.
The Devil's Tango. Yes, sorry, that was the one. Like she's doing the Devil's Tango with all the peeps. Like, yeah, no, I think we should normalize affectionate friendships. That I don't know. It's again, it's a bit I'm only doing things that I know can be familiarized. So it's like I wrote this with the help of Bobby. We came up with the most ridiculous dialogue that was just made it more fun to write because it was so silly and out of this world, but also it had a message as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think whenever we did the read-throughs, we did multiple read-throughs of it, and when it was finally finished, I was like, oh, this could hopefully be like the 10 things I hate about you for this generation.
Oh, that'd be something.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely I was really impressed just with the fact that you were willing to like write that as well. And I can only speak for myself, but I definitely relate to that a lot because I think we have kind of gotten better about kind of acceptance towards that in the last 10 years or so. But like back in my wrestling days, it's like again, I actually even just the age of 18, 19, I would not hug my friends at all. It's like I had to build up knowing them months before I was able to, because I was just like, oh no, guys don't hug. And again, I kind of slowly kind of became more affectionate. And then a lot of people would kind of, especially in wrestling, which is known for being like very kind of, people want to be very like tough and manly there. And they were kind of not really sure what to make of me. And again, like they were even like trying to like sort of like police my sexuality, and like because I was still figuring things out. And there was one friend I was particularly close with, and I did actually go through a period of thinking like, am I actually in love with this person? But like my mindset at the time was just kind of all over the place. So now looking back, I can realize this was just a friend I felt very strongly towards. probably has a lot to do with the homophobia in society as well. You know, a lot of, you know, it's thankfully things are getting better for people who are LGBT themselves, and just because even I can even remember like up until like 2013, you know, it was people were just casually saying, "Oh, that's so gay, don't be gay," and like looking back now, I'm just like, no, that was not okay to say at all.
I guess, you know, the great thing is now we're at a point where we're not always thinking in labels.
Mhm.
And because I think maybe a lot of the times certain labels held us back, maybe because so many people enforced it. It's like, this is who you are and that's all you are. No, that's not the case. We are constantly changing as
Mhm.
people and as like, and even within our friendships and relationships, they all develop and become more or less, or however, it all depends really. And so you can never really be in a box, not really. And, you know, even through Philia, when writing it, it was kind of great to explore even more of that and see how it really does affect things sometimes. Like I had the main characters were both like, it was based on my like this person's actual like experience in some ways. Like I didn't like go like by his actual life, but I, you know, I took the
Inspiration, yeah.
I took the inspiration attributes from it, like, and I put it into this little story. And I also had I had a contrasting couple as well, which was more boy girl,
Mhm.
and like so it's not just showing like you know the or like how guys are as friendships, also showing like how a guy and a girl can have that difficulty too, especially if like they're really close. Like even a friend, even recently, some people keep thinking me and him are a couple when we're not, and I definitely will never feel that way towards that guy. So it's like, um, and it's like it's kind of cool to show them maybe like, so it's like even if it looks like they're going somewhere, it's not always one of those things where if someone has love and affection for someone, it does not always mean they want to have that kind of relationship. And it should not be shamed to love your friends to a point where you hug them all the time. And like what was it, my best friends who were like girls when we were younger, like we always used to kiss each other on the cheek and we call ourselves sisters, and we'd hold hands and it was normal. And if I did that with them today, some of them would be like, oh, they're dykes. And I'm like,
Oh
no,
God.
that's
Mhm.
I didn't. And you know, when you're young, you don't think these things. And I think maybe that's I don't know, maybe because the world is so sexualized or so obsessed with it. But
Mhm.
sorry, I'm getting into a spiral.
Oh no, it's
But
like
that's
I fully agree, because especially when it comes to shipping as well, which I know a lot of people really love shipping, but then again, it's sort of like characters who are intended to be platonic, and people like love shipping them together as well. So it does. I feel as though if it's a platonic couple and they ship them together, in some ways it does sort of lose the sense of it. Like it was happening even back in the 19th century when Louisa May
Ooh,
Alcott was writing Little Women, right? Because the character she wanted the heroine Jo to be unmarried, you know, because obviously women were expected to always marry back then. And
mm,
she intended like her and Laurie were just childhood friends, you know, they were just friends, they were always going to be friends, you know, they just, and because Jo was very tomboyish and ahead of her time, so she wasn't conventional, so she related more to a boy. And that basically it was written in two parts, and after the first part, like so many readers just missed the point of that and kept like hounding her with letters. You know, they didn't have message boards, they literally sent her personal letters like asking when
ooh,
Jo and Laurie were going to get together, like would they be together,
ooh.
you know, like she had to put them together. And I think the quote she said was, people ask who she'll marry as though that's a woman's only purpose. And she's so in the pretty much part two was all about saying like, no, these two are not going to get together. And I think she wanted Jo to remain unmarried, but then the publishers kind of insisted she had to marry. But I don't. I love the 1994 film, and it does make her falling in love. It does make it more kind of acceptable. But then even in the most recent film adaptation, they did kind of leave it open whether she actually does get married. So
I like that like that she took a stand on that,
mhm.
because obviously, you know, look, it's 2021. There's so much more to us women than bearing children and getting married, and I don't think many people think that way anymore, not too many at least, or not many. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, it's great to how far we progressed. I know we still have a lot to do because there are still some injustices, but let's be honest, when is there ever not? So
We have a long way to go, but we've come a long way as well. So, no, I just thought of that quote just now.
that's
yeah.
brilliant.
And even just, I've never really spoken publicly about it, but going back to what you said about labels, it's like I only realized a few years ago that I was what they call aromantic, as in I don't feel romantic love for anyone. But again, I remember telling my friends this, and immediately the response that I get, and if you say this to me, it instantly lowers my respect for you because you come across as very narrow-minded. You say, "Oh, maybe you just haven't met the right person," and like to me, that's even saying that. To me, that's saying that you think I'm really just like some idiot who isn't able to know my own mind, or think that I just kind of came to this conclusion like with a snap decision without carefully considering it. And but again, I do kind of accept where that is coming from, because we do kind of hurriedly label ourselves, and I don't like calling myself that anymore. So the thing that I like to say is I just don't play that game, because maybe I'm leaving it open. Maybe I'll discover that I will fall in love with someone in that way, but in the sense that I am right now, I know I don't want to get married or have kids or do any of that kind of thing, and I'm perfectly okay with that. And I get enough fulfillment like loving my friends very closely as well. And
And I think that's fair. That's honestly fair. And yeah, things may or may not change, but I mean, that's not up to someone to assume or presume. I think, yeah, oh, Jesus, I swear, I'm usually better in my English, and now I feel like my English is just scrambled.
well, you speak 3 different languages, don't you?
Well, I do. I mean, like, I'm German, so of course I can speak German, and French very little, and then like I know sign language, like both American and Irish. Well, Irish I want to learn more of, so I can actually talk, like, and be like, oh, hey, how are you? I'm good. Like, I actually also, speaking of which, actually I'm writing a script that involves sign language, and I think that's also because I want to work with actors who are deaf. In Ireland, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% what's the word, aware of that life, like the community, the deaf community and all. I do know there's a community in Cabra called the Deaf Village, and like I know ever so little about what it's like to live in that sort of, like, I don't know, I wouldn't know how to say this. So it's like I have a lot more research to do, and maybe a lot more talking to do, and like I want to learn more so I could even talk to some people and be like, all right, would this be right, like, because I don't want to write things and like make the wrong assumption and all that. So it's like, but I like the idea that I have so far in my head where it's like girl who's deaf, who wants to be a filmmaker. And then you have a man who can hear, he plays, and he's in college for music. They meet, and I'm hoping some beautiful creative thing happens. I like the idea of exploring a different side that maybe not many people know about. And I also want an excuse to work with deaf actors, because truth is, I really don't know this. So people can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they get a lot of acting opportunities.
I think it is getting better. So, because obviously The Silent Child won an Oscar a few years ago, and that was about a deaf girl. And obviously A Quiet Place has cast deaf people. But then, yeah, I think I know a couple of actors who are hearing impaired, but not fully deaf. But I suppose, yeah, we create the opportunities for them. Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty who are creating opportunities for themselves as well to give the representation that they need.
And that's honestly a great thing. Like, and eventually I would love to write a script about my own culture, just because I don't know if anyone knows this, but I'm half Middle Eastern, so I'm actually from like the Gulf states in the Middle East. And I did not like I grew up there for the most part, and I didn't like let's be honest, every place has its issues.
Mhm.
But when I was growing up, I didn't think to myself like, oh, we're so oppressed. Because when I came to Ireland, you won't believe how many people thought I was this oppressed person and that I literally I go to school in a hijab and that it never gets cold during winters. So it's like I want to have a chance to, I don't know, do that, but it'll probably be years down the line.
Oh well, we have the time, and I've only haven't known you that long, but I feel like I've learned so much about the Middle East and Kuwait that in particular that I wouldn't have known before. Personally, I think it's great that because you're smashing it over here with getting all these acting roles, and again, you're being yourself in these films, like showing audiences like maybe a person they might not be used to seeing in their work as well. Because you got Accidental Suspect, you got 7 Days, and oh yeah, we have a film Misfits coming up. Do you want to talk about that?
Misfits. Oh yeah. I want to first of all thank Bobby for writing a specific character for me. Like, her name is Alia. Misfits is actually a story, like which involves a group of people, a group of friends who like they meet up and have a little bonfire, and it's kind of like a DMC situation. And I think the great thing about the script is that it gives a nice insight into everyone's troubles. And it's spoken in a very authentic way, like where it's like any group of friends, they just hang out and it's like, oh, you think it's easy, but it's not. It's like there's a like it kind of gives also an inter it gives a perspective on like how everyone has certain troubles, whether it's obvious or not. And you see people who have maybe the thing that is so called the perfect life, but it's like there's still this issue of maybe, I know with one character, it's like, is this really what I wanted? Because it doesn't feel as fulfilling as like one would think it would. And then there there's the also issue in terms of what is femininity, and even like this is actually probably my favorite one, where your character goes through like how people see him simply because of certain behaviors he does, and like it's that's not all he is. And I love that, because and I think a lot of people would relate to these characters, and so I'm really looking forward to being a part of this, Bobby.
It was basically one of those scripts I just kind of vomited out one night. I think I sent you one draft, and Dana's like a great person to pitch ideas off as well. Not just because she tells me I'm great. She always like gives me like useful tips and like what I can do to like how she reacts to the story, and what would work better and what does work and everything. And I didn't even kind of like realize, but I think it was my character Tyler, who is autistic, right? That's one of the first times I've ever properly like written myself as an autistic character. I just never would have thought of like writing myself that way. And it's only like in the last year or so that with the controversy around Sia's film Music, and I'll take a shot at the Imitation Game, which I fucking hate. Yeah, just we are kind of in some ways starved for like more varied autistic representation. So I just kind of I just sort of like wrote the character and just was like, oh, okay, maybe make him autistic, just kind of wrote the character, and then I kind of realized like how kind of different it was to anything I'd written for myself before. So it'll be an interesting experience to play, and hopefully we get it done soon so you guys can all see it.
I have to say, even another script you wrote that involved what was it like, it's the horror one you're writing.
Oh, Wicked Game, is it?
No, there wasn't Wicked. Oh, actually Wicked Game as well, and it's also the Christmas one.
Oh right, yeah, it still doesn't have a title. It's literally the file name is just Christmas Horror, which how did I come up with that?
I mean, that sounds like a good enough name, honestly. If you like the Christmas Horror, like it's like I think it's kind of cool. Like actually, with each of those scripts, you're kind of giving like, I mean, Wicked Game, you've given it a bit more like, I guess like a bit more. You've given like I think more voice and power to these, and like more specifically through your own experiences. And I think that's really cool. I'm not gonna lie, because I knew nothing much about autism before, really. I mean, I saw Temple she's this great scientist who's autistic. I saw like the movie of her life when I was 15 and because of my class, and I was like, okay, I guess that's autism. I learned more through you guys as well. And I'm really actually glad to know you guys.
Oh, thank you. I've learned so much about again, I'm always learning as well, because again, like my experience is so different to someone else's experience as well. And Hollywood kind of it likes to go for the theme park version, you know, kind of simplifying it down. Like that's one of the reasons I hate The Imitation Game, because for those who don't know, it's based off the life of Alan Turing, who was possibly neurodivergent in real life. And there was a lot of things that he didn't do, and the film just kind of conventionalizes him and puts in loads of really stereotypical things, like he has a meltdown because his food isn't separated properly, which there's no report of him doing in real life. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. But other things as well, like he's not able to work with a team and can't understand a joke, and that was apparently not him in real life. But I think it was probably done by a screenwriter who was like thinking, oh well, this is what must be what autism is like, this. And so what I guess what I was subconsciously hoping to do is kind of like show a different side as well. And I think there is a movie that's been recommended to me called Please Stand By that's pretty good as well. And apparently Dakota Fanning did her research when portraying this character. And I remember I was telling you, there's so many mermaid films that like have these codings for their autism, you know, like there was a YouTuber called Anna Moomin who said that she related so much to the character in Splash. And turns out Daryl Hannah, who portrayed Madison, is autistic herself, so she may have even related to her as well. And Jodie Benson from The Little Mermaid says that she had autistic children come up to her and say that they could relate to like Ariel having her voice taken from her and not being able to communicate. And there's a guilty pleasure movie called Aquamarine, and even watching that I was like, oh yeah, I was even noticing like, oh yeah, I see a lot of things there, like how Aquamarine doesn't know about human culture and she has to be taught how to behave like a normal teenager. And the bad dancing scene I relate to so much. This is the great thing about talking to Dana. You can explore just like the whole depths of the greatness of humanity, and you never know where we're gonna go next. So I knew
that's true. Like, yeah, I think, oh man, like I remember, like honestly, even when back in Kuwait, we'd just be like going on hours talking about just literally anything, like whether it's like you helping me out with a script or like reading through one of yours, or we just be like talking about nonsense and philosophy, and like also how lucky we are to like know each other and our other friends as well. And Greg, who, what was it, like was it Jack who said this, who that he is the gateway drug to friends?
it was, shout out Jack McKenna, he was right.
Yes, Mr. Like expensive scotch for a last name. I always refer to him as that. I always like when I see him, I'm like, hello, Mr. Expensive Scotch for a last name.
Oh yeah, sometimes nicknames just kind of they just come out of nowhere and then they stick.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, what was it? I became the Hiccup Lady.
Oh, we have to apologize for Bill. Oh no, yeah, because I didn't want to bring this up, but Dana has chronic hiccups, and it's the sweetest sound. And as we were prepping for my short Fallen, which I will be doing a panel on eventually, and Dana hiccuped a few times on the call. And later on, when Bill came down to scout the locations with me, he was running through the crew members we had, and he's like, "Sorry, I'm forgetting her name, but Hiccup Lady." I was like, I had to just like get my phone out, and I was like, I had to call Greg, and he was in college, and I just had to like, sorry, I just have to get your live reaction to this, and I told him, and he just hung up. I think I told you. I thought, oh no, this is me gone too far. I've said the thing that will ruin our friendship.
That was the thing. I think. Oh, I remember he freaking hung up, and he just bursted laughing because he he deprived you of the live reaction. He would just like.
I think I spent a good 10-15 minutes in hell, like, because he didn't reply to me or didn't respond to me, and I was like, oh my god, like, has he been genuinely offended here? Like, what? He's not. Oh my god. But yeah, yeah.
Very young, actually. Another project that's in the works, I know, like, which I know I'm going to be acting in, and it'll be called Better Seasons. And I'm going to try not to give too much away, but it's I guess in many ways, it's I guess you could say it's a mix of Once, the one by John Carney, um, and Bright Places.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just a mix of those two. There was a mix of someone else there, but I'm forgetting the name. But yeah, it's so there we actually are throwing in a lot of our original songs in there. Oh, also forgot to mention, yeah, I'm also an aspiring musician.
Hmm.
um so it's like so yeah, I get to so that's gonna be great too, because I usually I'm still having a hard time playing in front of people, and I'm still progressing towards that. I think like um I don't know, I'm actually really surprised to know where I am now, to be honest. Like I had really bad social anxiety at one point, and I was really depressed, and like the anxiety kept me from pursuing a lot of things. And I think even the first time I put my song out on YouTube and showed it to you guys, even like it was very terrifying.
Oh, I'd say
I
so.
was, yeah, because I never done it, and I didn't even know if I was good or not. So I was like, oh my God, is it not? Like I was like, it was a very, and I think like, I don't know. I think it was really through the true friendship of you guys that and the support have I been able to come out of my shell more. I think anyone who struggles with anxiety, I definitely understand what that's like. And it's very difficult to push yourself and be like, because sometimes you feel like, oh shit, I'm doing this wrong. And it's like, and you feel other people looking at you and judging you because of it. And then you're just like, hold yourself back, because you don't want to be that dumb idiot who makes mistakes and maybe makes it and like makes complications. But I think, again, I say this, like if someone's really trying, and like people have to I think be more accepting. And but also I'll say this to all the people who have anxiety and shyness. um I'm not saying I'm cured of social anxiety, because I still struggle with it every so often, not as bad as before. But I think maybe one of the great tips is just to day by day just push a little bit. And also, and like I mean, like it's easier said than done, but make a little goal list, and through that try to and find a determination to push towards it. And as hard as it is, do not think, because when you think, that is every writer's that's every writer's enemy, is the minute we think. And so you just have to do, like, first draft. If anyone who wants to be a writer, anyone who wants to do music, you just have to, I always refer to the first draft of anything as the vomit draft. So everyone vomit all over yourselves and be like, and then give it a while, and then come and clean it up a bit and be like, all right, I have all my meals, and I have all my meals. That sounds so, that's a weird analogy. But my point is just you can do it. It takes time, and um little steps will get you there. Take it day by day. Don't push all at once, and like just a little bit out of your comfort zone each day. Another thing I think would also be like, and I've only learned this the last couple years in my life, surround yourself with good people. And this is referring to anyone, family, friends, because, and like, I was surrounded by a lot of toxicity throughout my life that I thought I simply had to deal with, but it did not help me in any way. It just made it much more difficult. Um, I think for everyone's mental health as well, and for your emotional stability, it is good to know who your real friends are, which family member is actually there for you, and surround yourself with those people only. And if someone is too much for you, you're gonna have like, and I know it's hard, maybe, or it depends on the situation, but try to minimize the time with them or cut them out of your life, whichever suits you. And I think that's when it becomes better. That's just my experience.
Mhm. I
Sorry,
mean,
they have a whole lesson out there.
oh, that's great. I mean, I had a couple of things to add to that. The thing about just like trying a little harder. Like obviously you've seen Mulan, and it's like after she kind of makes a spectacle of herself with the matchmaker, her father, it's a very sweet scene. Her father says like, "Oh, what beautiful blossoms we have this year." And then he points to one that hasn't bloomed yet. He's like, "Oh, this one's late, but I bet when it blooms, it'll be the most beautiful of all." And he's basically telling Mulan that, okay, yeah, you screwed up, but you can always try again, and this time you might succeed. And when you do succeed, it'll be great. And yeah, I think the other, I mean, because I actually, again, I struggle so much with anxiety myself. I mean, I'm like the king of overthinking, and even just like showing people my scripts as well. I mean, I think that's something I've recently learned, that it's apparently harder for people with autism to kind of get feedback the way neurotypical people might. So I would always like, I mean, I would understand that it would be sometimes hard for me to kind of like show my writing to people, like in case of what they're going to say. But even just like through kind of working with you and Greg and kind of understanding like how, like what constructiveness is, that's helped. I think that's helped me become a better writer anyway. And another thing is my friend Ian Kelly, back in my wrestling days, shout out to him. He has his own podcast, Dynamo's Dozen. And he gave me some advice that like on just like putting my matches together, or like if something goes wrong. And he says like, "Oh, like what's the one other thing you're good at?" And I said like, all right at drawing. And he says like, "Okay, so say you're drawing something and you make a line that's you do something that you weren't hoping to do, but you do trust that you'll be able to fix that and kind of like keep working with that and turn it around and then like work with it." And I was like, oh yeah, that's like perfect. So it's like I could sometimes be worried about like getting it right on the first try, but then I was like, nope, put it on the page and then trust that if it doesn't work, I'll be able to tweak it later.
Exactly.
Oh god, yeah. And what you just said there, it just reminds me of it was a call very early on because we basically started doing weekly Zoom calls like pretty much after Greg's birthday at the start of the year, because we just like loved getting together so much. And there were times we were doing it like every other night, and there was one night where it was obviously it's probably not polite to say who was on the call, because it's everyone's own private business, but we all kind of did sort of like confide the past about kind of the things we had suffered in the past. And there was one kind of trauma I'd suffered very recently, and it was my first time telling anyone about this. And I remember specifically, what you said that night, and afterwards I was like, Dana's not just my best friend's girlfriend, she is my close friend as well. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so yeah, she's not defined by a man, she's her own woman.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk about life on Pluto yet, or?
Oh, I do. Oh, fuck yeah, I do. Sorry. So Life on Pluto is another script Bobby wrote. Honest, I have to say, I think I love a lot of your scripts, to be honest.
Keep it coming.
No, I'm serious. Like, honestly, I think ever since Life on Pluto was the first script I ever read from you. And since then, I think every time you're like, oh, I have a new script, I'm like, bring it here. Because I'm like, I love the stories you come up with. And like, honestly, if you meet our group, there are so many talented writers in there, and talented actors and film and equipment and DPing and like there. So it's like, so I'm apparently blessed to be able to read these amazing works. And like, so I was Life on Pluto is a story about, it's again a group of friends, kind of like a modern day circle of friends. If you all know Babe Finchie's novel, Life on Pluto, what was it, the name of the hangout place? It was a Pluto itself. Yeah, so it's like these group of friends and like their own little everyone has their own sort of situations, very unique in a sense, but also very relatable. What was it, like, I think certain things we don't really think too much about that happens or goes on. I could tell you, like, the ending got me.
Mm-hmm. And actually Dana was, and she read the first draft and she sent me again, we didn't know each other that well, so she sent me a very kind message. And Greg was even telling, you didn't give me your thoughts directly. Greg was telling me what you thought of it. And it actually got me thinking, it's like, oh yeah, I should do this as well. So Dana ended up contributing many ideas to the script as well, indirectly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I thought I told you ages ago, but well, now you know. And I was I was even talking to Liam Gaynor, who I love, the other day, and his He's not happy about this, but one of the characters is partially named after him. Yeah, one character is named after you, remember?
Yeah, I remember. I fucking remember because your real name as well. Which I made change, by the way, because that name is forbidden.
Which name is forbidden?
You know quite fucking well what name.
And yeah, I even said to him, "I was like, oh, I think this character is actually one of my favorite characters that I've ever written."
Oh.
And
Oh.
written for an actor. Well, I mean, whoever ends up playing it, it was written for a specific actor, but obviously I'm not directing it, so another actor might end up filling the role. But personally, the actor that I wrote it in mind for, I think he's going to do amazing work, and I think pretty much kind of everyone that the parts are written for are going to do stuff. And it's a film I can't wait to make, but obviously we have to wait a little longer. But you heard it here first, folks. We want this to be something that you'll all love.
Yeah. Oh, the great thing, actually, I said this even first, is like the great thing with your characters, they're very three-dimensional. They're never like, I mean, that's, I think, something I haven't always seen in from I'm talking in terms of I mean, some people, sorry, it's just something, I think that's a great attribute. I hope, am I saying the word right in the right context? I need to Google now. I'm sorry, I'm a perfectionist. I need to know, did I say it right? Is attribute the right vocabulary? Doing this live on the podcast, checking out definitions. Regard something as being caused by a quality feature. Yeah, okay, I got it right. Sorry. It had to be done. I apologize, people.
Well, I mean, your characters are like that as well, because there was one evening where we think we were up until it was 2 a.m. my time, and I think it must have been 4 a.m. Kuwait time, where I was reading a script that she'd written called Sense of Self, and it was so, I mean, yeah, the character, the whole story was kind of so striking. I could kind of I could see it. It was obviously very raw and it still needs to be edited, but I could see it so well in my mind. And so that you have a talent there as well. So I would not sell yourself short there.
Well, thank you. I know I still need to work on the dialogue, and I mean, I still have work to do in terms of learning how to be a proper writer.
Yeah, we all do, yeah.
Yeah, but at least, I mean, at the moment, at least for the time being, I have a foundation for the script, and it's I'll get back to it when I have time, because now I've started college again. I was trying to, and I guess trying to keep on top of things. Now, not only do I have classes, but apparently I'm now, this is so funny, because over the summer, through my classmates were like, oh, anyone want to be a part of the subcommittee for DCU drama? And I was like, all right, I'll look it up. And I was like, I said I'd want it to be under the camera department. What ended up happening was that my PR, well, I call her, she's my PR now, but at the time she was like, she emailed me. It's like, oh, hey, saw your application, thought it was amazing. Do you want to be the head of the camera department? And I was like, I need to think about this. She didn't give me time to think about it. She straight up made a group chat and announced me, here's our head of the camera department, people. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing it. But so far I've been having fun and getting to know people there, and I've been doing some of the works. I did some of the work for it already, and I think I'm having a good time, and I think it also will be another thing that pushes me out of my comfort zone. So I think it's a good thing as well. But yeah, I hopefully I'll have time to write again. And sorry, I keep speaking so long.
No, it's great. Before we wrap up, do you have any projects in the pipeline that we haven't talked about that yet that you'd like to shout out, or just even things that you've done already that you want to just remind the audience of?
Well, shout out to Greg Young for having me being a part of 7 Days.
Although not bad for a newbie, I must say.
Yeah. Try me, bitch.
Oh, you're lucky that's all I gave you. For having me work as crew on Private First Class, and also for the future project, Better Seasons. I'm looking forward to acting in that for you, man. A shout out to Sean Bryan, working where we have worked on his, oh, Bobby, you were in that as well. Yeah, you're the actor in that.
I made an appearance.
made an appearance. You were one of the leads.
Mhm.
Shout out to Sean Bryan for like working on that as crew as well. That was a great time, and a lot of blood was involved. Y'all will find out. Y'all will find out later.
Mhm.
Shout out to Dean who am I saying his name right?
Houlihan, yeah.
Houlihan. Shout out to Dean Houlihan for letting both Bobby and I and a bunch of others in the group like contribute to this cool ass acting gig where it literally involved no one being together in the same room, but we all kind of just like threw in our bits in.
It became nothing more than just ants under my microscope and reflected under the lens of my hatred.
That was awesome. And also the great thing it got into a New York festival recently. You've heard about that.
I don't think I knew about that. We're in New York now?
It was on Instagram. We're everywhere, man. This is going places.
Yeah, I told Dean this baby has legs.
It's got a lot of legs. It's long as hell. It's wearing stiletto heels.
Mhm. And of course, I'm half naked in that as well. So go see it.
Yes, if y'all want to see some juiciness, like, and you have a chain around your neck too. Sorry, I'm making this sound more suggestive than it is.
Oh no, just like whatever we can do to get more eyes on the film, you know.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Tom O'Brien, and who was actually the first person I've ever produced, and maybe have gotten me more into this community. If you haven't seen it, it is a great thriller called For His Eyes Only, and there was a great story behind that, but I know we don't have enough time, but you have to check it out. It is a great one. And lastly, shout out to the man who's hosting this podcast himself, Bobby Calloway. I'm looking forward to all the future projects I'm doing with you, Misfits, Wicked Game, the Christmas Horde that still needs to be named, and Life on Pluto especially. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, well, thank you for coming by. This has been like, I already know this is going to be one of my favorite interviews when it goes up. So we love you guys. Stay safe.